Okay, get this. What if a court ordered you to pay money that you literally don't have? I'm not talking about money that's just a little tight to come by. I mean money that flat out does not exist in your bank account. It sounds impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what happened in a fascinating Supreme Court case that really challenges how we think about fairness and finances.
And nope, this isn't some law school hypothetical. It is the very real question at the heart of the Bhushan Kumar Meen case. Can the law actually command you to perform an action that is mathematically impossible? That's the central conflict we're going to break down today.
So let's start with what made this whole situation so impossible in the first place. It all comes down to the numbers. And when you see the breakdown, you'll get exactly why a pretty standard legal order just didn't add up. It all kicks off with the husband's gross monthly salary. We're talking about just under 35,000 rupees. Now, on paper, you might think, okay, that's a decent starting point. But the key word there, as you're about to see, is gross. And here's where almost all of that salary just vanishes. The main culprit? A massive home loan payment of over 21,000 rupees. I mean, that's a reality for so many of us, right? A huge chunk of your pay goes straight to the bank. After that and a few other cuts, his actual take-home pay, the money in his pocket, was just 9,000 rupees a month. That's it. And then came the court order, 10,000 rupees a month in interim maintenance. Wait a second. You're probably already doing the math in your head, right? You can see the problem. I mean, just let that sink in. The court ordered him to pay 1,000 rupees more than he actually received each month. It wasn't just difficult, it was a mathematical impossibility. And it's this completely absurd situation that propelled the case all the way to the Supreme Court. So, this sets the stage for a classic legal showdown. This wasn't just about one family's finances. It was a battle between a strict interpretation of the law and the cold, hard reality of a payslip. The husband's argument was pure, simple math. He's basically saying, look at my bank statement, I only have 9,000 rupees. This order is impossible. And he also pointed out that his wife was qualified and could potentially work. But the wife's argument was rooted in a very strong legal principle. Her side argued that maintenance is based on the gross salary, and a home loan is a voluntary choice. In the eyes of the law, he's building an asset for himself, and that personal financial decision shouldn't get to eat into his legal duty to support her. And this quote from her side's argument really gets to the core of their legal position. See, this wasn't just an opinion. It's based on the principle that maintenance calculations often don't account for voluntary debts. And as far as the established law was concerned, she was correct. So with the law on one side and reality on the other, the case landed in the Supreme Court. And their approach wasn't about rigid rules. It was much more about a delicate, pragmatic balancing act. Now, the court focused on the word interim. And this is crucial. This was not the final decision. This was about finding a temporary workable solution. So they looked at the whole picture. The husband's tiny take-home pay, the wife's genuine need for support, but also her qualifications and future potential to earn. Their goal was to create a sustainable bridge, not a final, unworkable verdict. In a moment of just striking pragmatism, the Supreme Court flatly stated that the 10,000 rupee order was, quote, on the high side. Now that might sound mild, but in legal terms, that's a huge signal. It meant that while the legal principle of using gross salary is important, you can't apply it so rigidly that it leads to an order that is just practically absurd. So, having acknowledged the impossibility of the situation, the court then crafted its final order for this interim phase, one that was designed to be fair, realistic, and above all, possible to actually follow. The court's solution was this really smart four-step plan. First, they cut the immediate payment in half to a more manageable 5,000 rupees. Second, they adjusted the back pay accordingly. Third, they put a clock on it, ordering the trial court to make a final decision within 6 months. And fourth, they deferred the bigger questions, like the wife's earning capacity, to that final hearing where all the evidence could be properly weighed. Now, this case might be from 2009, but its impact is still felt in courtrooms today. Its legacy isn't just about one couple's dispute. It's really about the vital role of pragmatism in the pursuit of justice. So why is this such a big deal? Well, this judgment was a landmark. It carved out a space for reality in maintenance law. It established that for temporary interim orders, huge debts like home loans can be considered. It affirmed that a spouse's ability to earn is relevant. But most importantly, it sent a clear message that justice has to be practical. An order that cannot be paid is not justice at all. And this case leaves us with a critical question for our modern world. With so many of us managing student loans, mortgages, and other debts, how can our legal system make sure that its pursuit of justice stays flexible, fair, and most importantly, grounded in financial reality? Something to think about.